Hello, YouTubers. It is Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Friday, December 27th, 2019. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas holiday season, and I want to get right into the story. Before I decided to upload the video, I wanted to make sure if there were any information pertaining to the court case pertaining to Derica Brown and Patrick Stallworth. As of yet, I have not found any information of an upcoming court date, but when I get that information, I will bring it to you all. But what I would like to discuss is information that I have received. I had got a wind of someone stating that Mr. McKinney, Dominic McKinney, is being investigated. As of what he's being investigated for, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if this allegation is true, but I thought I would bring it to you because once I got that information last night, I also got information today, and both of the sources are from Birmingham, Alabama. If they are true, I do not know, and I wanted to make sure I had some type of verification before getting on today, but naturally, how can one verify it? But I find it interesting that two people have made this claim from Birmingham, and they have sources that are connected to the Birmingham Police Department. As you know, people do talk. All sources of people talk. And so I find it interesting that these comments were given to me, statements were given to me due to the fact that Mr. Dominic McKinney has been very quiet and silent lately. And of course, most of you who have followed my videos and have been following the story pertaining to the death of Camille McKinney, you have heard the rhetoric with the parents. You've heard the Facebook post and the live feeds given by each party, outside parties, and each person have, came to their own conclusion what they believe or whom they think was or is involved. As I stated in my previous videos, that I wanted to listen to the evidence in court. I wanted to see what the state has and what the defense attorneys have against each suspect. But because we don't have any information, because there is a gag order in this case pertaining to this child's demise, that you won't be getting any information. What we've been getting basically is just hypothesis, assumptions, rhetoric, gossip, whatever. And people are still talking, obviously. And people are going to talk when you don't have any information, any clarified, confirmed information. But why has Mr. Dominic McKinney been so quiet? And I find it interesting. For a month, Mr. McKinney was ranting and raving on Facebook of this and that, and going back and forth with Mr. Don Vito. It's my new name for Two Guns. Two Guns, how you doing? You have become a very popular staple in this case. Because the father implicated he and another gentleman to be suspects in the kidnapping of Miss Camille. And people ran with that. And that's what people do. Even if there was no social media, I think we all know that once you open your mouth and give a claim of anything, be it true or not, people are going to run with it. Because isn't that the reason why you gave the statement in the first place? It's because you wanted people to run with it. But I told myself and I told others that I wanted to be objective once the suspects attended court. Because like I said, I wanted to hear what they had to say. I didn't want to listen to any more gossip and rhetoric about who was involved, who wasn't involved, speculations, yah. But then once the two attended court, all of a sudden Mr. Dominic was quiet. He had nothing to say, no rants, no Facebook posts, no live feeds. And so one would have to draw the conclusion that you're quiet for a reason. Is it because you are being investigated for connection to your child's kidnapping and murder? Do you know Patrick Stallworth or Derica Brown? Have you had some type of involvement with these two? And people are still wondering and questioning that. And I can see why people would, because Mr. McKinney spoke hastily in his news interviews, implicating himself to having knowledge. And as I told many of you, perhaps he just didn't know how to talk. He didn't He just spoke out of term. You know, was that possible? And see, everything's up for speculation because we, one, do not know these people. And I've told many of you that if you would just sit back and watch and listen without judging, you can learn a lot by listening. You know, my father, who's currently deceased, told me that once. Sometimes it's best to listen. Don't say anything. You learn everything you need to know by listening to people talk. And as I have stated, we all have our own conclusions about these parents, their involvement or non-involvement. Many of you know, I'm very opinionated in my opinions of these people, as I am with anything I talk about. Because one, it is my channel, and I discuss various situations and scenarios, and this is a commentary channel. And I don't have respect for people who don't have respect for themselves. I don't respect people who don't respect other people. You may not like people, but there's still a way of carrying yourself. There's a way of conducting business. And when you're dealing with death, I think you need to act somewhat dignified, because we all have come in contact with death at some point in life, and how you deal with the situation and people determines the after effect. Some people fly off the handle, some people get ignorant, some people cuss, rant, rave. Like I said, everyone handles things differently. But see, I'm one of those type of people. I'm not about to go to warring with a two-legged creature on Facebook, social media, about the death of someone in my family. I don't believe in that. But as you see, these people handle things differently. Why one would want to be ignorant is a mystery to me. But as I stated, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone conducts themselves differently. Now, some people will use that as an excuse to war with strangers and random people. I find it ignorant, you see, because you should be more concerned about your said situation, your current situation, which is life, living, taking care of your child that you have left behind. That person is worthy of your attention, don't you think? But why is Mr. Mckinney quiet? You've had nothing to say as of late about anything. Your focus was adamantly on Mr. Vito and Mr. Nolan, but now you have nothing to say, and I find that very interesting. Is it because somebody has put a bird in your ear and told you you might want to pipe down and be quiet? You might want to stay off of Facebook. You might want to just be quiet, because you're not in no shape to be running your mouth, because that's what got you in this mess in the first place. Because you see, as I have told many of you and those who I talk in private, you know me well. Nobody knew you before October 12th. You or the mother or these other side shows to this case. You made these people relevant. You made yourself relevant. So now when you hear certain people crying wolf about leave me alone and why they talking about me on YouTube, well, you see, once again, you made yourself relevant. Because you see, if you handled yourself in a certain way, a diplomatic fashion, nobody would be talking about you on YouTube or Facebook, because there's a way of doing things. And I'm trying to be as open and honest and calm. But most of you know I'm a very passionate person. I speak from the heart. I speak from what I see, you see. And I've learned that everything is about perception. So what you see, I may not see. What you think, I don't think. We're all different. We think differently. We act differently. And that's why the world is really in the shape that it's in. It's because really a lot of people say they care, but they don't. And I have noticed that with this case, that a lot of people cry wolf, saying that they're concerned about the child. But I can see in the comments and the defense of people who don't really seem too in tune and really cared much about the child, from my observation. Saw a diagram on a video of the Tom Brown housing development. And I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to check out of here. It appears to me that that basketball court was in close proximity to the Tom Brown housing development, the apartment of Miss Long and the party thrower, the party hostess. I was trying to get an exact, you know what I'm saying, location, but I really couldn't see because it was an aerial view, so I'm trying to put it together. But it looks like it's close. If I'm wrong, please verify with me. I have no problem with that. But if the apartment is in close proximity to that court, then that means Mr. Stallworth and Derica Brown kidnapped the child, Miss Camille, under the nose of Miss Thomas. And that to me is even more baffling, that these things, these creatures, these animals kidnapped this baby in close proximity. Okay? Now, the view that they were showing of Miss Long's apartment and the party thrower, there's no way you would have had a view of the child or children playing at this court. So naturally, you couldn't see even if you were sitting outside from what I saw. As I stated, if I am incorrect, please verify the said information. But you couldn't have seen the child if you were even outside watching from the back door. So still out of sight, out of mind. Very interesting details of this place, because I had been trying to get verification of the basketball court to the said place where the party was thrown and the cousin's apartment where Miss Camille was visiting. But as I stated, no one would ever verify, which I thought that was interesting. All the rhetoric and mess going on YouTube, social media with this case, no one ever said how close the basketball court. So in a way, when I sit back and I think of everything that's been said and done pertaining to this case, it seems to me that everything's a secret. Don't some of you find that odd? With all the name calling, all the bashing of this person, that person, who did what, who didn't, who's involved, who's friends, who's Facebook friends. Yes, honey, all of that. But nobody can give you verification on how close the basketball court is related to the said apartments. Don't you find that odd? Nobody could ever say. Everybody's talking in circles, but nobody can say, hey, yeah, I live there, I visit there. It's this many feet, this many yards. Don't you find that weird? And what's even more crazy is that thinking back to someone taking the child to the door, just me thinking here, all this is close proximity, but yet no answer. No answer. So people are discussing it still, and people are backtracking in the videos because, as I stated, no said information has been given by the state or the police because there is a gag order in this case. But I just wanted to let you all know that I saw a diagram on a lady's YouTube channel, and it shows that it appears the basketball court was in close proximity of of the housing. I'm assuming it's on the property of Tom Brown. As I stated, I could be wrong, but just the aerial view, it is close. But as I stated, just looking at that was very creepy and eerie to me, that these people kidnapped her right under this girl's nose. And yet you heard nothing of a timeline still, not a whisper. And I thought to myself, maybe that's why she never said anything, because it was in close proximity. So she didn't feel like she owed an explanation, because the court was right near the apartment. I do not know. But I am curious to why, after all the accusations brought up from the father against Mr. Two Guns and Nolan Moore, why you have nothing to say. Did you participate in this kidnapping? Was there a reason why you wanted your child kidnapped? Because you see, I didn't ever want to discuss this issue again, because as I stated, I want to wait for court. I felt like the two have spoken to the detectives, gave their statements, both conflicting. Hadn't heard anything about the mother being involved, or the father, or outside parties. But we still have to go to court. And what else will be revealed, I do not know. But I do find it interesting. He hasn't spoken. So my sources are saying that Mr. Dominic Mckinney is being investigated in Birmingham, Alabama. And to what degree and for what, I do not know. That was not revealed to me. But why would they be investigating Dominic McKinney? Did you know these people? Do you know Derica Brown and Patrick Stallworth? Did you have some type of personal issue with them? Was this a revenge plot against the mother? I don't know. Because I wanted to put, as I stated, I wanted to put all that out of my head. I just wanted to see straight facts. I just wanted to hear straight testimony out of these people's mouths, what transpired, if others are involved, why others would be involved. But one is wondering, and people are still chattering, and I find it interesting, as I asked the source today, do you trust the source that brought you this information, that he's being investigated? And they just basically said, well, they're not sure of the person that brought it, but that's what's chitter-chattering down there, that he knows Mr. Stallworth. And he set this up, but it went too far. And it almost seems as if, maybe others knew as well. I don't know. But what is the truth? Because as I've told many of you, we're never going to get the truth out of those two parents. Knowing these people, not. Someone made claim today about the mother tagging the two in jail on Facebook posts. Why would you be doing that? That made no sense to me. They've been incarcerated. They don't have cell phones. What would be the point? Are they getting wind of what's being said out here? Of course. People talk. People talk in jail. But does it matter? Of course it doesn't matter. Because they're not going anywhere. If Stallworth did this because of someone else, would he tell? Someone made a comment, well, I don't think he would tell because the father's gang related. Maybe he'd fear for his safety in there. Yeah, I'm saying this. I didn't even want to say it. And then I thought about it. I thought, I said, let me tell you something about those two. They're going to make sure those two aren't touched in there. I would hope that nobody will get wind of them. Nobody will see them to get to them because they're going to want those two to stand trial. And not saying there couldn't be a mishap. Could always be a mishap in jail or prison. But I got a funky feeling Birmingham's going to keep a watchful eye on those two up until trial and during trial. So I'm not too concerned about anyone exacting harm against Stallworth or Derica. But that was mentioned to me. That maybe that's why, if it's true, Stallworth knew Mr. Dominic McKinney. And this was a setup. And it went foul. He'd be afraid to tell on him for the fear of retaliation in the jail. I don't know. And I would hope for Mr. McKinney's sake that it wouldn't be true. Because then that means all the rumors and speculations were dead on. But as I tell people, we will never know the truth because we don't know these people. We don't know anything about them. And from what I've seen, I don't care for. And I just don't, and that's my opinion. I don't like the rhetoric. I don't like the nasty commentary and posts because, as I said, I don't feel like that's the dignified way to handle grown folks' business and the death of a child. But to each his own. Does Dominic McKinney know these two people? And did he set this up? And is that why Dominic McKinney, 2 weeks in now, 3 weeks in now, has been quiet? Because he now knows he's been passing the buck on two other people and possibly the mother, because we don't know the verification of the ransom situation, who he was speaking of. It's because all along you were involved, perhaps. So you had to shift the blame to Mr. Vito and Nolan because you didn't want anyone looking at you. And that's usually what guilty people do. They shift the blame to random people and or people that they know of because they don't want people looking at them, because they know that if a person was to really look inside, they would see that the person doing the most hollering is guilty and they know something. They know something. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. Hit the like button and share. Until the next time. Bye-bye.